Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're kicking off an epic 5-part series diving deep into the haunted and legendary lore of Stratholme, one of the most iconic cities in the Warcraft universe. From its rise as a beacon of faith to its trials through war and betrayal, we're uncovering every facet of this cursed city's story. In this first episode, we'll explore Stratholme's origins in the wake of the Troll Wars, its pivotal role during the Second War as the birthplace of the Knights of the Silver Hand, and the dramatic trial of Tirion Fordring. So grab your Argent Dawn tabard, hit that subscribe and like button, and let's step into the sacred streets of Stratholme's past together. Early history. The Troll Wars, fought approximately 2,800 years before the opening of the Dark Portal, were a defining conflict between the human empire of Arathor and the Amani forest trolls, who dominated much of the northern lands of the Eastern Kingdoms. Under King Thoradin's leadership, the humans of Arathor forged an alliance with the High Elves of Quel'Thalas, combining human resilience with elven magic to defeat the Amani. This victory not only secured human dominance in the region, but also laid the foundation of Arathor's territorial expansion. Following the Troll Wars, the Empire of Arathor entered a period of prosperity and growth. With the Amani threat diminished, many humans ventured northward from Arathi Highlands, the heartland of the Empire, to settle the fertile and resource-rich lands of Lordaeron, previously under Troll control. These settlers established new communities in the region known as Eastweld, a verdant area encompassing parts of what would later become the Kingdom of Lordaeron. These early settlements, founded around 2,700 years before the Dark Portal, included key locations like Stratholme, which would grow into one of the most significant cities in human history. The expansion of Lordaeron was driven by several factors. The stability and prosperity following the Troll Wars led to a population boom in Arathor, prompting migration to new lands. The Eastwald offered fertile farmland, dense forests, and access to rivers, making it ideal for agriculture, trade, and industry, thus increasing resource opportunities. With the move also came strategic positioning. Settling the Northlands allowed humans to secure their borders against potential troll resurgence and to establish trade routes with Quel'Thalas. These new Arathi settlements laid the groundwork for the cultural and political diversification of human civilization, eventually leading to the fragmentation of the unified empire of Arathor into independent kingdoms, including Lordaeron. The Church of the Holy Light emerged as a major institution in the centuries following the Troll Wars, its origins intertwined with the chaos and suffering of the conflict. While the exact founding of the church is not precisely dated, it likely began in Lordaeron several hundred years after the human expansion into the region, around 2,500 to 2,400 years before the Dark Portal. The church's theology, centered on the virtues of compassion, justice, and the reverence of the light, a divine, benevolent force, resonated with the war-weary people seeking out spiritual guidance and unity. The church's rise was facilitated by several key developments. Social cohesion. The Troll Wars left deep scars on human society, fostering a need for a unifying ideology. The church's teachings provided a moral and spiritual structure, emphasizing community and mutual support. Church leadership. Early priests and holy figures, inspired by visions of the light, organized relief efforts administered to the wounded during and after the wars. Their acts of healing and charity earned widespread respect, laying the foundation for the church's authority. Then there was the cultural integration. As humans settled in Lordaeron, the church spread alongside them, adapting to local traditions while promoting a universal human identity rooted in the light. The church established its presence through the construction of temples, shrines, and monasteries across the human lands. In the Eastweld, sacred sites like those in Stratholme became central to the church's influence. Stratholme, in particular, grew into a spiritual and economic hub, renowned for its grand temples and the production of holy water, which was believed to possess miraculous properties capable of dispelling dark magics and healing ailments. This holy water became a symbol of the light's power and Stratholme's sanctity, attracting pilgrims and scholars alike. Over time, the Arathi settlements in the Eastweld coalesced into the Kingdom of Lordaeron, one of the 7 human kingdoms that emerged from the gradual dissolution of the Empire of Arathor. Lordaeron became a dominant power in the Eastern Kingdoms, with its capital city, also named Lordaeron, serving as a political and cultural center. The Eastweld, including Stratholme, fell under the kingdom's sway, benefiting from its protection and governance. During its golden age, Stratholme was a beacon of human achievement. The city thrived as a center of trade, religion, and craftsmanship, its bustling markets and towering cathedrals drawing visitors from across the continent. The Church of the Holy Light played a central role in the city's identity, with its clergy overseeing religious ceremonies, charitable work, and the training of paladins, holy warriors who wielded the light to protect the faithful. The city's holy water, produced in sacred fonts blessed by the church, was particularly renowned. It was said to be so potent that it could cleanse curses, banish undead, and counter the foulest necromantic spells, making Stratholme a bulwark against dark forces. The church's influence extended beyond Stratholme, with temples and shrines dotting the Eastweld and other regions of Lordaeron. These sites served as community centers, places of worship, and training grounds for priests and paladins. The church's emphasis on charity and protection also fostered a sense of unity among the different human kingdoms, even as political tensions grew. The expansion of Arathor into Lordaeron and the rise of the Church of the Holy Light had lasting impacts on Azeroth's history. The establishment of human settlements in the Eastweld created a strong human presence in the north, shaping the political landscape of the Eastern Kingdoms. The Church, meanwhile, became a cornerstone of human culture, influencing everything from governance to warfare through its paladin orders, such as the Knights of the Silver Hand, founded much later during the Second War. However, the prosperity of Lordaeron and its holy sites like Stratholme would not last forever. The region's strategic and spiritual significance made it a target during later conflicts, most notably the Scourge invasion during the Third War. Stratholme, once a shining symbol of the light, would fall to tragedy, its holy legacy marred by the horrors of the Cullen and the rise of the undead. Nevertheless, the early history of Lordaeron and the Church of the Holy Light remains a testament to human resilience, faith, and ambition in the wake of the Troll Wars. Some key points of this human expansion to put into perspective are the timeline. The humans' expansion into Lordaeron occurred around 2,700 years before the Dark Portal, with the Church of the Holy Light emerging centuries later, likely around 2,500 to 2,400 years before the Dark Portal. The cultural significance of the Church is that its teachings provided the moral framework that unified human communities, while its holy sites, like Stratholme, became symbols of spiritual and temporal power. Stratholme served as a major city in the Eastweld. Stratholme was both a religious center and a hub of trade and defense, its holy water embodying the Church's mission to combat darkness. In terms of political evolution, the shift from the unified empire of Arathor to independent kingdoms like Lordaeron reflects the growing complexity of human society, with the Church serving as a stabilizing force. This period laid the foundation for the human kingdom's dominance in the Eastern Kingdoms, setting the stage for both their triumphs and their eventual trials in the face of new threats. Second War. Stratholme was the second largest city in the Kingdom of Lordaeron, rivaled only by the capital city of Lordaeron itself. Located in the fertile Eastweld, Stratholme was a bustling metropolis renowned for its grand architecture, thriving markets, and deep connection to the Church of the Holy Light. Its temples and shrines, built centuries earlier during the human settlement of Lordaeron, made it a spiritual beacon, while its strategic position near the coast and proximity to Quel'Thalas cemented its role as a key economic and military center. The city's wealth stemmed from its dual role as a religious and commercial hub. Its markets facilitated trade with neighboring regions, including the High Elves of Quel'Thalas, while its port served as a vital link for maritime commerce and military logistics. Stratholme's production of holy water, blessed by the Church and capable of cleansing dark magics, further enhanced its prestige, attracting pilgrims, scholars, and warriors seeking the light's protection. By the time of the Second War, Stratholme was a symbol of human resilience and faith, its influence extended across the northern Eastern Kingdoms. One of Stratholme's most enduring contributions to Azeroth's history occurred at the outset of the Second War, approximately 6 years after the opening of the Dark Portal. Within the hallowed halls of Alonsis Chapel, Archbishop Alonsis Fowl, a revered figure in the Church of the Holy Light, founded the Holy Order of the Knights of the Silver Hand. This order of paladins, warrior priests imbued with the power of the light, was created to counter the growing threat of the Orcish horde, which had invaded Azeroth during the First War and now threatened the northern human kingdom. Alonsis Fowl, recognizing the need for a new kind of warrior to defend humanity, personally selected and inducted the first 5 members of the Silver Hand in a ceremony at Alonsis Chapel. These paladins were Uther the Lightbringer, who would become the Order's most iconic leader, known for his unwavering devotion to the light and his leadership during the Second War. Seydan Dathrohan, a steadfast warrior whose later fate would be tied to the tragic fall of Stratholme, as well as 3 other unnamed knights, whose contributions helped establish the Order's early legacy. The founding of the Silver Hand was a turning point for the Alliance of Lordaeron, a coalition of human kingdoms, dwarves, and high elves formed to oppose the Horde. The paladins combined martial prowess with the divine magic of the light, wielding hammers and holy spells to smite their enemies and heal their allies. Alonz's Chapel, located in Stratholme's sacred district, became a symbol of this new era of holy warfare, its sanctity lending weight to the Order's mission. The Silver Hand's formation not only bolstered the Alliance's military strength, but also reinforced the Church's influence as the Paladins became champions of the Light's virtue across Azeroth. During the Second War, Stratholme's strategic importance came to the forefront. As a major port city, it served as a critical hub for the Alliance's supply lines, particularly for the transportation of oil, a vital resource for powering ships, machinery, and war efforts. Stratholme's refineries and oil platforms along the coast were the primary source of oil in the northern eastern kingdoms, making the city indispensable to the Alliance's logistical network. The oil production in Stratholme was intended to fuel the Alliance's naval and land operations, supporting the defense of Lordaeron and its allies, including Quel'Thalas. The city also played a key role in military operations. Before the burden of Quel'Thalas by the Horde, a significant alliance force, led by Tirion, a paladin and lieutenant of Anduin Lothar, Illyria Windrunner, a high elven ranger, and Khadgar, a powerful mage, disembarked near Stratholme's port. From there, they marched to Quel'Thalas to aid the High Elves against the Horde's invasion, which was bolstered by Amani troll allies and red dragons enslaved by the Dragonmaw clan. Stratholme's proximity to Quel'Thalas made it a natural staging point for this campaign, underscoring its strategic value. Additionally, Stratholme served as a holding point for prisoners during the war. Renegade soldiers and sailors from the Kingdom of Alterac, which had betrayed the Alliance by colluding with the Horde, were detained in Stratholme before being escorted to the capital city of Lordaeron for interrogation. This role highlights Stratholme's importance as a secure stronghold capable of managing internal threats during a time of crisis. Despite its strength, Stratholme's prominence made it a prime target for the Horde. As the Alliance prepared to ship massive quantities of oil to the western kingdoms of Lordaeron to support their war effort, the Horde launched a devastating campaign to cripple the city's infrastructure. Orcish forces, likely aided by their troll and ogre allies, sabotaged Stratholme's oil refineries and platforms, disrupting the Alliance supply chain. This act of sabotage halted the shipment of oil, weakening the Alliance's ability to sustain its naval and military operations in the north. The Horde's assault culminated in the destruction of Stratholme itself. The city, unprepared for the scale of the attack, was overwhelmed, defenses shattered, and its infrastructure razed. The fall of Stratholme had far-reaching consequences. It led to severed supply lines. With the destruction of Stratholme, it cut off the Alliance's primary oil supply to the north, hampering its ability to reinforce Quel'Thalas in other fronts. It also was a loss of a spiritual center. The raising of Stratholme, including sacred sites like Alonz's Chapel, was a blow to the morale of the Church of the Holy Light and the Alliance as a whole. It was also a strategic setback. The loss of Stratholme weakened the Alliance's position in the north and eastern kingdoms, allowing the Horde to press their advantage against Quel'Thalas and other regions. The destruction of Stratholme during the Second War marked a dark chapter in its history, but the city would later be rebuilt, regaining its status as a key center of Lordaeron. However, its vulnerability to attack foreshadowed the even greater tragedy that would befall it during the Third War, when the Scourge and the Cullen of Stratholme would leave an indelible mark on its legacy. Stratholme's role during the Second War encapsulates its multifaceted importance to the Kingdom of Lordaeron and the broader Alliance. As a birthplace of the Knights of the Silver Hand, it was a cradle of hope and resistance, producing heroes like Uther the Lightbringer who would shape the course of the war. As a port city and oil producer, it was the linchpin of the Alliance's war machine, its loss dealing a significant blow to the human kingdoms. The events of Stratholme during this period highlight the interplay of faith, strategy, and resilience in the face of existential threats. The city's destruction by the Horde, while devastating, did not erase its legacy. The rebuilding of Stratholme in the aftermath of the Second War restored its status as a spiritual and economic hub, though it would face further trials in the years to come. The founding of the Silver Hand in Alonz's Chapel remains one of the most enduring legacies of Stratholme, as the paladins continued to serve as protectors of the light and defenders of humanity long after the city's fall. Stratholme's status as the second largest city in the Kingdom of Lordaeron cemented its role as a cornerstone of human civilization in the Eastern Kingdoms. Matched only by the capital city of Lordaeron, Stratholme was a religious, economic, and military powerhouse. Its grand temples, bustling markets, and strategic coastal location made it a beacon of prosperity and faith. Deeply tied to the Church of the Holy Light and renowned for its production of holy water, the city's influence extended across the northern regions, serving as a vital link between the human kingdoms and their elven allies in Quel'Thalas. A defining moment in Stratholme's history occurred at the onset of the Second War, when Archbishop Alonzus Fowl founded the Holy Order of the Knights of the Silver Hand within the sacred walls of Alonzus Chapel. This marked a turning point in the war against the Orcish horde, introducing a new breed of warrior priests known as paladins. Among the first 5 members inducted were Uther the Lightbringer, who would become a legendary figure, and Seydan Datherhand, whose legacy would later be tainted by tragedy. The formation of the Silver Hand in Stratholme not only bolstered the Alliance's military strength, but also solidified the city's role as a spiritual epicenter, with the paladins embodying the light's virtues in their fight against darkness. Stratholme's strategic importance during the Second War cannot be overstated. As a major port city, it was a chief source of oil in the northern eastern kingdoms, fueling the Alliance's naval and land operation. Its refineries and oil platforms were critical to sustaining the war effort, while its proximity to Quel'Thalas made it a key staging point for military campaigns, such as the expedition led by Tirion, Illyria Windrunner, and Khadgar to defend the elven homeland. Additionally, Stratholme served as a secure stronghold for detaining renegade Alterac soldiers and sailors, underscoring its role in maintaining order amidst the chaos of war. The city's prominence, however, made it a prime target for the Horde. In a devastating campaign, Orcish forces sabotaged Stratholme's oil refineries and platforms, halting the Alliance's supply chain and crippling its ability to support Quel'Thalas and other fronts. The Horde's assault culminated in the destruction of the city itself, leaving its once proud temples and markets in ruins. This loss severed critical Alliance supply lines, contributing to the temporary fall of Quel'Thalas and weakening the northern front. The fall of Stratholme was a significant blow to the Alliance, both strategically and spiritually, as the city's sacred sites, including Alonzus Chapel, symbolized the Alliance's enduring presence. Despite its destruction, Stratholme's legacy endured through the Church of the Holy Light and the Knights of the Silver Hand. The city was eventually rebuilt, reclaiming its status as a spiritual and economic hub in the years following the Second War. However, its history of tragedy would continue into the Third War, when the Scourge's devastating and infamous culling of Stratholme would cast a long shadow over its legacy. Stratholme's story during the Second War is one of triumph and tragedy, reflecting the broader struggles of the Alliance against the Horde and the enduring power of the light in the face of overwhelming darkness. Of blood and honor. By the time of Tirion Fordring's trial, Stratholme had been rebuilt and restored to its status as a major city in the Kingdom of Lordaeron, following its destruction in the Second War. As the second largest city, rivaled only by the capital, Stratholme served as a hub of religious, economic, and political power. The Hall of Justice, a prominent courthouse within the city, was a symbol of Alliance's authority, where significant legal proceedings were conducted to uphold order in the northern eastern kingdoms. The decision to hold Tyrion's trial in Stratholme reflects on its importance as a city of governance, capable of hosting high-profile cases involving key figures of the Alliance. The city's recovery from the Second War had been remarkable. Its grand temples, bustling markets, and strategic port had resumed their roles in supporting the Church of the Holy Light and the Alliance's operation. The presence of the Knights of the Silver Hand, founded in Stratholme's Alonzus Chapel, further reinforcing the city's spiritual and military significance. However, the trial of one of the Order's founding members would expose cracks in the Alliance's unity, revealing tensions over loyalty and morality in a world still grappling with the aftermath of the war against the Horde. Tirion Fordring, one of the original paladins inducted into the Knights of the Silver Hand by Archbishop Alonzus Fowl, was a respected figure in the Alliance, known for his valor during the Second War. However, his encounter with Eitrig, an orc living in solitude in the war, challenged his perspective on the Alliance's policies toward orcs. Eitrig, a veteran of the Old Horde who had renounced the demonic corruption that once fueled his people, was discovered by the Alliance forces and taken prisoner. Tirion, believing in Eitrig's honor and believing he was not a threat, intervened to protect him, an act that was perceived as a betrayal of the Alliance. That's it for the first chapter of our 5-part journey into the lore of Stratholme. Learn more about the capital city of Lordaeron by clicking on the video in the top right corner, or get your lore fill with the playlist in the bottom left. Next week, in part 2, we'll step into the shadow of the Third War, where the city faces a devastating new threat that will test the light itself. If you love diving into Stratholme's past with us, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to join us for the next chapter. Drop a comment down below. What did you think of Tyrion's stance on Eitrig, or Stratholme's role in the Second War? Until next time, may the light guide your path.